5:20, we're going to talk about, well, the front page of the Times, the BBC boss Tim Davie resigning. You're getting in touch with your thoughts and we'll get to those in just a second. Thank you for them. Joining us to talk through the papers is the political commentator Alex Petropoulos from the Centre for Future Generations. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, Tom.
Is this going to help, the heads rolling of the Director General and the head of news, do you think?
I think this will help. I think that when you look at the evidence on the table, and you say, look, there's been this one video that's been doctored of Donald Trump, but it hasn't just been this one video. It's been sort of a death by 1,000 cuts, is how some have described it. It's been scandals like the Hugh Edwards scandal, scandals like Bob Dylan's anti-Semitic comments on the Glastonbury stage, even events like featuring the son of a Hamas's official in a Gaza documentary. These are all individual actions that by themselves might be a mistake. But if you take them all together, they can only manifest if there's a systemic cultural problem at the BBC and people at the top and at the bottom have forgotten the golden rule of not being biased, that golden rule of impartiality. And so the only way you can reset that culture, I think, is by a change at the top and a signal to everyone in the entire organization. Things are changing. We need to change the way we are because we're losing the confidence of people in being unbiased.
I mean, do you trust the BBC? Do you think it has problems of bias? And what are those problems in your view?
I think that I trust the BBC still on the margin. I think the BBC doesn't understand fully sometimes what it is and doesn't understand fully just what like a special position it has and the opportunity it has compared to other broadcasters. And it ends up focusing on content that I just find bizarre, ends up focusing on content that I can see is clearly either misplaced or wrong. A lot of the anti-misinformation content that the BBC puts out, I've been quite disappointed by. I felt like it's gotten wrong. It will take them, 3 days to tell me that something is false that I could easily find out by looking somewhere else. So it seems like a sense of prioritization and a sense of audience is confused.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at polling, and polling isn't everything, but it suggests that all news organisations have seen a drop in trust amongst audiences. With the BBC, it's the most pronounced because that's come from a higher base than, say, newspapers. So there is a bigger drop-off for the BBC, but it still remains one of, if not the most trusted single news source amongst the public, even if that drop-off has been significant. I mean, not a great deal of trust, it must be said, coming through in your comments this morning. Dave from Nantes Globe, good morning, Dave Baudard. People at the top of BBC have resigned, but what the public wants is for bad eggs lowered down, weeded out, who are really doing the damage. Dave suggests anti-Semitic content, left-wing activists being involved, they've got to go. Howard from Leicester, the BBC News Division needs to be closed down. It's bloated, very expensive and biased and totally unnecessary with so many other news outlets. It's no longer popular or trusted by the population, and it would also reduce the licence fee. That's Howard's view. Like I say, polling, it's not a science, but it does suggest it's still more trusted than other news sources. However, of course, we do not all pay for those other sources. Other sources are privately funded, and you can, say with Times Radio, pick and choose when you come and go on the basis of when you trust us or not. I very much hope you do trust us. And Peter gets in touch. Haven't listened to any BBC content since 2019. It's become clear to me the BBC is biased. I am centrist, and even for me, they're often biased towards the left. I resent paying a penny to this organisation, and I hope it fades away. RIP BBC. Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you for tuning in for, well, hopefully some balanced, neutral coverage, like you say. Let's cover some other things, Alex. The budget, of course, looming into view. We've got a few weeks to go. Cabinet minister supposedly warning the Chancellor not to increase income tax because it would spell electoral disaster for Labour.
Yes, so there are rumours, and they're only rumours, but there are rumours that Rachel Reeves is considering a 2p increase in income tax paired with a decrease in national insurance for people earning under £50,000. The idea being that the only people who will have their tax burden increase will be people who currently don't pay national insurance or who earn over 50K. So it's sort of them trying to be, some would say sneaky, some would say clever in how they raise taxes, technically breaking that manifesto promise.
Do you think she could pull it off electorally?
Not currently, not because of the fact that I'm saying you can't raise taxes at all. I think you should leave yourself open, the options on the table. And I think that there are a few things you have to get right if you want to do this. First, you have to pick the bad taxes to get rid of. You have to look at some of the worst taxes that we have in this country, like stamp duty, like taxes that hinder your ability to foster innovation, hinder your ability to create new businesses. National insurance is one of those taxes. So this is on the margin better, but there are taxes that would be higher up the list. Two, you've actually got to be honest and you've got to be showing progress on your commitment at the beginning of the general election for change, on your commitment to bring the country back to growth. And the fact of the matter is, central to that story for this government was reforming the planning system, was increasing house building, was making it easier and cheaper and faster to build infrastructure, to build energy in this country. And they currently haven't done that. It's been more than a year, and we haven't seen this magical planning bill that they've said's been in the works. So all the British public will see then is taxes going up without that accompanying story of things are going to get better, we're going to fix the economy.
Yeah, and that's the story she's got to tell. Very briefly, Alex, would you pay £1,200 for a book subscription? A Mayfair bookshop, Haywood Hill, is offering this tailored book subscription for that amount of money. They'll choose books bespoke for you. A sort of intellectual personal trainer is how they're selling it. Have they heard of the internet, is my question.
Have they heard of the internet, or have they heard of all these AI models? I think that I'd get a lot more utility, a lot more happiness paying that equivalent amount for something like that and just talking to it all day and asking it questions about the world or about the internet and getting it to write.
Or just asking your friends for their book recommendations. That's what I would do. Get in touch if you've got your own, and we can start a book club that's slightly cheaper than £1,200 this morning. Alex Petropoulos, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really, really appreciate you getting up so early.